Hello everybody, I'm just packing up here at the Toughsheet Community Stadium. That's Bolton for those of you who don't know what the stadium's now called. It's no longer the Macron. After what has been an entertaining and interesting 0-0 draw for Everton in their third pre-season fixture. It was an experimental first team that started today on the Sean Dyche, who was here today. Obviously wasn't at the game at Wigan the other day when the senior side beat them. He was in the dugout today against Bolton, and it was an interesting night that he chose. João Virginia got his third appearance in front of Sean Dyche and impressed, to be honest. I think probably one of the main takeaways from the opening games of pre-season so far is the fact that it's clear Sean Dyche at least wants to give him an opportunity to take that number 2 spot to Jordan Pickford now that Asmir Begovic has gone, and Virginia was perhaps Everton's best player, like one of the few players who played the full 90, made a number of important saves, particularly at the end of the first half when he saved first at the feet from Dion Charles, who was through on goal, and then from a long-range effort from Carl Dempsey. He did well, João Virginia. Another of the most impressive performers was probably one of the more surprising names on the team sheet at the start, and that was Lewis Dobbin. The 20-year-old really was a threat in the first half. He played really well, both in terms of his interplay and the build-up to games. He teed up Iwobi for one of the best chances for Everton of the game when Iwobi went through on goal but could only fire at the Bolton goalkeeper's face. And then he also had a few chances of his own, and probably unfortunately for Dobbin, I think he'll be a little bit disappointed that right at the end of the first half he was through one-on-one from a bit of an angle, and the goalkeeper Baxter did well to come to his feet. But Dobbin really, he deserved a goal for the first 45 minutes of his performance. He didn't quite cap it off, and that really probably just sums up where Everton are, I think, at the minute. At the end of the day, they're creating plenty of chances, and I think there are some positives from that. It's quite interesting in the piece that I've just written for what's essentially my match report. One of the things, my takeaways from this and from Wigan, is the fact that Everton seem to be adopting a more coherent style of attacking in this pre-season. So often at the end of last season, it felt they almost got their goals through absolute desperation. It was either set pieces, the left foot wand of Dwight McNeil, or the energy, the enthusiasm of Abdoulaye Doucouré just bulldozing through defenders and midfielders in order to finally get Everton over the line. But there wasn't so much of a coherent approach. That seems to be changing. I think it really crucial to that is Ashley Young's arrival. He played on the wing at Wigan, he played left back tonight, and just the intelligence and the composure that he brings to this side, both in terms of how he plays with his back to goal, his little flicks with Iwobi it was when he was next to him at the weekend, with Dwight McNeil it was today. The way he just carries the ball as well and reads the game, it just helps to Everton to get up the pitch in a way that they weren't doing at the back end of last season under Dyche, and which I think Nathan Patterson in the same games is replicating on the right, albeit with a little bit less of success. He's trying to be more progressive, play passes that break through the lines to the feet of Amadou Onana, to the feet of Neal Maupay. He's working really hard, can't get that goal. Obviously that's hugely important. He's working really hard, dropping deep to try and either win free kicks and help Everton get forward that way, or flick it past his defender, or tee up the on-rushing Alex Iwobi or those around him. It was an experimental lineup. Obviously Andre Gomez, he got his first chance of pre-season. Probably wasn't the best, was a little bit sluggish if I'm perfectly honest. Lille want him back, and I'm not sure he made a huge case for his involvement ahead of the likes of Doucouré, Idrissa Gueye, or maybe Iwobi in midfield. Iwobi was right in a 4-man midfield today. But this wasn't a bad performance. Obviously it was 0-0, it's against League One opposition, but I do think there are some positives to take from this for Sean Dyche. The game changed at half-time. Dyche made 8 substitutions. It was obvious he was going to do that from the moment that the players who went into the dressing room, because 8 of the first team stayed out, and basically the fitness coaches had them sprinting from box to box for the whole 15 minutes before they got withdrawn. So I think it's very much a case that after this game, Sean Dyche is going to come off and say this was more about fitness and tactics. But I do think that there's a tactical plan, a template there that, with the returning first team players, the likes of James Garner, maybe Jared Branthwaite will come in. Obviously we know Arnaud Danjuma, he wasn't involved today, but he'll come in. And of course Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if and when he's fit. You could see a stylistic approach tonight, and at Wigan, albeit with a slightly different formation, which you think that perhaps those bigger name players could come into and adapt to. And perhaps there's a bit more of a game plan, a bit more of a sense to Everton's play that's been provided from Sean Dyche, being able to have the opportunity to work with these players over pre-season. And I do think that is really important. Look, you can't take too much away from a 0-0 draw against Bolton and wins against Swiss second-tier opposition and Wigan Athletic. Of course you can't, but I do think there are some signs of reassurance that progress is being made at Finch Farm. Obviously, the main takeaway, as ever, how was it last season, as it has been with the game so far, is whilst it's all well and good me saying that Everton might be getting better at creating chances, they've really got to finish. And Mopé missed a few, Dobbin missed that big one, Iwobi missed a big one. And I think really, more than anything, what Sean Dyche is doing right now is he's controlling the controllables. He's making his team as fit as possible, he's making its style of play as coherent as possible. Whilst he's doing that, those around him have got to do the most important job in the next few weeks. That's find Everton a way of scoring goals, be it through getting Dominic Calvert-Lewin back up to peak fitness, or through going into the transfer market and finding someone who's got that clinical streak that Everton just don't have but will need to be competitive this season. Obviously, hopefully it's a new player and a fit Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The very, very least, it's got to be one of them before Everton walk out against Fulham in just over a fortnight's time.